Hello and welcome everybody to another episode here at Last Week in Geek, the video podcast from Manly Battleships. I'm Mr. Panda.
And I'm Rockstar.
Bum, bum, bum! We're starting off with a bunch of trailers and teaser stuff, so Roxy, tell me about what's coming out last week.
Well, it seems like we had a whole bunch of trailers drop at D23. However, they only actually have made some available to the public, not all of them. So what they have made available to the public is The Mandalorian, which is dropping with Disney Plus on November 12th.
I saw a lot of sand in that one. It's dry, of course, it gets into everything, and I don't know.
But does he have the high ground? Something else dropping with Disney Plus? Lady and the Tramp. Apparently it's no longer straight to video, it's straight to streaming for Lady and the Tramp. Couldn't get enough live action in the theaters. Gonna get it at home now.
I don't know if I want that. I took a look at that and was like,
Reminds me of cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs. You know, I didn't even see Dumbo. How did Dumbo work out? Like, that bad, huh?
I didn't see Dumbo, so I have no idea. But, my problem is either you get no expressiveness in the face or way too much that it looks cartoony. Can't get somewhere in the middle.
Leading all catkind in a glorious revolution to conquer the world.
If you were hoping for an animated Harley Quinn that was R-rated, all your dreams are coming true over on DC Universe. It's coming soon, later sometime, I assume this year, maybe. That's all they said, was coming soon.
I gotta give them one thing, having seen the trailer. Batman's gonna be funny as hell.
Batman is pretty funny. I don't know. I actually think the Joker is funny. There is that one line that the Joker said.
Yeah, that's true. Check out the trailer. It's actually worth your time. Well, it's not even really a trailer. It's kind of like a... It's like a
featurette.
It's a feature. It's like behind the scenes / hey, look what we're going to be doing. Haha, isn't this funny? We're totally going to be better than the DC movies. We promise. Please watch our stuff.
DC animated is always better than their movie stuff. So.
Yeah, check out that Wonder Woman movie at some point. That's good stuff.
We got some good news. No trailer yet, but we do have a release date for Big Mouth Season 3.
You didn't tell me this.
Yes.
When are we getting Big Mouth Season 3?
Big Mouth Season 3 is dropping on October 4th of this year. So right after you binge Rick and Morty, you can go binge Big Mouth.
Now we just need some more BoJack Horseman. And Tuca and Birdie would be nice, Netflix.
Even though you canceled it.
It would be nice. Give us some more Tuca and Birdie.
In the gaming world, Intellivision has a new console, the Amico, coming out. And they dropped the trailer for it. Or something. It was the weirdest trailer I've ever seen. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they looked at the Nokia phone and decided, you know what the world needs today? Casual games on the console like the Nokia phone, but for the family. Making all of us go, huh?
They only gave us a brief glimpse of the actual game feature and spent way too much time with superimposed 3D graphics with we're not appealing to hardcore gamers. Screw those guys. But we're going to make it really intense.
If you want to get your hands on whatever this new console is going to be, that's launching October 10th, 2020.
We've got a few updates to stories that we've covered in previous episodes, including one from Kyoto Animation. There has been a memorial that's been set outside of the site of the Studio One fire disaster from the arson attack. Kyoto Animation wants you to know that they are grateful for all the things that you have left as far as mementos and flowers at that memorial. However, effective on the 26th, which I believe at this point will have already passed, perhaps, for Japan, as of the time of this posting, they don't want you to leave any more stuff there. The primary concern is that they are in a residential area where Studio One was located, and they kind of want to give people peace of mind. You know, there doesn't need to be a daily reminder of a tragedy right there in the middle of town. So they're going to be removing the memorial. They're going to be removing everything else that people have left behind. They are thankful for all of that. However, please do not continue to do that and don't take pictures there because there's no reason to remind people of the tragedy on a constant basis. Another thing that has happened is that the Japanese government has confirmed what will happen to all the money that came in as part of this donation effort. It will not be treated as standard income. It will be treated as disaster relief by a special act of the legislature, and therefore I'm assuming they will either pay no taxes or at least less taxes. I don't know exactly how the Japanese structure works.
I think it's no taxes.
Yeah.
D23 happened, and we got a whole bunch of news about what's going on the Disney Plus app. Like, a whole bunch of news. So, I'm gonna break this down by IP. I assume is the best way to put this. We're gonna break this down by IP, starting off with Marvel. Marvel has announced a few new live-action series that they're going to do, which are Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel, which is going to feature Kamala Khan, which is the first Muslim superhero to be a live-action superhero. So that, I actually think, will be interesting.
I don't know if I'm really that excited about She-Hulk, I gotta tell you. But I mean, like, I have very vague recollections of how the She-Hulk character works in the first place. Quite frankly, if it doesn't also include regular Hulk working as a bouncer outside of a bar, I'll be extremely disappointed.
Star Wars The Clone Wars will have its 7th season premiering exclusively on Disney+. So if you were hoping to finish that animated series that you have probably binged all 6 seasons of, too bad. Go to Disney+. That's the only place where you're going to get it.
To be perfectly honest with you, I didn't realize that the show had anywhere to go. I didn't watch it, but this is weird to me. It's like,
Well,
didn't this start back when they did the Phantom Menace?
It left off in a cliffhanger.
I'll go figure.
And finally, apparently we're getting an Obi-Wan Kenobi prequel series.
With Ewan McGregor, nonetheless. And I'm confused about exactly what they're going to accomplish with that. My brother, for a while, was speculating that, oh yeah, they're going to make it about back when he was with Qui-Gon. And I'm like, no. Like, Ewan McGregor was already a little old to be playing, like, teenaged Obi-Wan in the first movie. I'm pretty sure, and we'll all hope, that it's going to be, like, the post-Empire period, where he's, you know, like, chilling out in the desert and killing sand people and stuff.
Pixar has 2 shows. One called Monsters at Work, which is going to continue the line of Monsters, Inc. and Monsters University in its own little animated series. And we also have Forky Asks a Question, which is, why am I alive? Which is aimed at children.
Why am I alive?
And meant to be educational. I don't think they're going to be teaching the kids philosophy.
Complete tangent, by the way. I had a thought about that. You recall that in Toy Story 2, none of the Buzz Lightyears come awake except the one where Buzz tries to steal his belt? We're now speculating that the whole creative spark has entirely to do with getting the love of someone in you.
That sounds...
Read into that what you will.
Disney has announced 2 of their own shows, one being a meta show of a spin-off of High School Musical called High School Musical, the series. And no, I'm not kidding. That's literally what they called it. Who's still watching High School Musical?
People who aren't old, Roxy.
The other one is a sequel series to Lizzie McGuire with Hilary Duff as Lizzie McGuire. They actually got her back. It's all going to be...
30, flirty, and thriving.
Basically, it's going to be about a 30-year-old Lizzie McGuire who's struggling to make ends meet in life.
It's the story of a millennial.
We know what you're going to get for the basic package of Disney+. Apparently, you're getting 4 screens... and all of them available at 4K, which for $6.99 is actually
very competitive
compared to what you have to pay for Netflix nowadays, or Hulu without ads, or any other service.
Netflix, you might want to just think about that thing we talked about in the Spider-Man video on Saturday. Just saying. Speaking about Spider-Man, perhaps as a move to do some one-upmanship, Sony is re-releasing Spider-Man Far From Home to theaters, including a new action scene. They're pulling an endgame, if you will. Bum, bum, bum.
I swear this is just to show dominance that they can do whatever they want with the license.
They're T-posing. Hey, Disney!
See,
Disney! Disney!
That's not what I was imagining, but that's just maybe because I'm old. I'm imagining Sony dunking Spider-Man into water and just holding him under the water. In a move that I think tells us all how YouTube Premium is going, not YouTube Red, all the shows are going to be made free as of September 24th with ads.
Because no one owns an ad blocker.
Well, that and because they still want you to actually pay for YouTube Premium. If you do pay, apparently your perks are you get to watch them without ads, and you get to watch them the second they release. Because, you know, the stuff that's going to be free is going to be delayed released. As if anyone really cares about a delayed release when you're watching it for free.
Now in new stuff, we have some updated information about the David Bowie film that's planning to be released called Stardust. It's all about the Ziggy Stardust phenomenon, starring Johnny Flynn in the role of Bowie. But the interesting thing about it is that the film is not going to feature any David Bowie music. At least not as far as we're able to determine, because they never bothered to go and ask permission to get it. Because the family still owns the rights to all the Bowie music, apparently. Go figure. So I don't know exactly what's supposed to be going on in this movie. According to the producers, this will still work out because it's not really about his rise to stardom. It's not like that Queen movie that just came out. It's about a moment in Bowie's life that was particularly impactful that launches him to stardom, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be about specifically the moment in time in 71 when he comes to America for the first time.
They're just remaking The Man Who Fell to Earth. Bowie's got to do some drugs and be like, you know what, I could be a singer. This is what it's going to be about.
The other thing is, according to Duncan Jones, the movie is also going against all the family wishes. They don't actually support the film in any way. That leaves people like, I don't know, Streak, who's a really big David Bowie fan, kind of torn about whether or not to watch the movie when the family themselves are saying, we don't want anyone to support this movie. Seems like lawsuits are everywhere these days. A bunch of book publishers are coming along and they're all suing Audible over a new feature called Captions. Captions, the new feature that hasn't been released yet. Essentially, it's machine learning, doing speech to text.
Maybe they'll finally get a voice to text feature that actually works. I'm looking at you, Google. The underlying argument on behalf of the Writers Guild, I think is one of them, right? Mm-hmm. Is that having the transcription of the audio come up on the screen is a violation of what the license was supposed to do. Because first, the book gets licensed to get made into an audiobook. Audible then controls the distribution of that. But now it's a written form. Oh, no.
And Audible, on their side, is saying this is not meant to replace the written form of the book, seeing as the text can only pop up as long as the speech is also accompanying it. The Writers Guild and Audible have never been on great terms.
Mostly because Amazon owns them.
And not to mention, this captions feature is actually active on the Writer Guild's president's book. So he's extremely unhappy. That seems almost just as salty as Twitch and Ninja. People are getting salty all over the place.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm gonna be really interested to see how this plays out in copyright court, though I don't think that the Writers Guild will end up with a case. I feel like a lot of this is really just, they know that they're not gonna win this if it actually has to go down. It almost feels like they're just trying to leverage additional licensing agreement stuff. Audible could get an out with the ADA. People who have learning deficiencies needing that text as a supplement to the format. And I mean, it only generates what's being read. You know, I'm pretty sure that movie makers don't get to sue people over closed captions, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. You know, we very well could add a what the fuck moment to this show if we really wanted to. We're not going to do that, but this is one of those things that potentially qualifies for it. Death Row Records, the studio responsible for really great rap music like from Tupac,
Dr. Dre. It's gangster rap from the 90s, people. You have heard these songs before.
Is now officially owned by Hasbro.
The toy company. You know, Mr. Potato Head, My Little Pony.
Now, what happened was Death Row Records got picked up into a media conglomerate, I think in Canada or something, that ultimately got bought by Hasbro. So you would think that this was just a happenstance. No. Hasbro has plans about what to do with Death Row Records. We don't know what those plans are exactly, but I guess we're now wrapped in attention to see what Hasbro has to say and do with this.
WTF doesn't end there. Suge Knight's son is the one who's currently running Death Row Records while Suge Knight is actually in jail. And he just announced that there's more Tupac songs coming on. So
I wrote this song a long time ago. A real long time ago. I wrote the song in 94. Oh, I love that sketch so much.
It just makes me wonder if that actually 2 episode isn't so much fiction as reality.
Yeah, they got Tupac's brain plugged in somewhere. It's just churning out songs. Like Stephen King, it's just push a button. There you go.
I'm very confused. There's so much drama going on Twitter. I don't understand. So, the story is, it seems this very well-known streamer of WoW, Gross Gore, has a character, an NPC in Blizzard. Which, for anybody, I feel that would be kind of an incredible achievement.
What an honor.
An extreme honor. It seems to not be an honor because today he went on Twitter ranting about that particular NPC, calling the NPC character a troll that has a huge crooked nose, which is there only to embarrass him and mock him. However, this has spawned into a bit of a Twitter fight as his own fans are posting screenshots of his own tweet stating that he was extremely happy to be placed in the most recent expansion to WoW.
He's being a troll. Go figure.
Well, the funny part is the fans also dispute that, stating that while he's claiming it's a troll that's non-humanoid, the character is actually a Trog, which is a humanoid character.
Nerd!
I don't even know if Blizzard's gonna even bother to respond at this point.
And for the last story in this episode of Last Week in Geek, has the first space crime been committed? You'll have to decide. Annie McClain, an astronaut who is on the International Space Station, is accused of improperly accessing a bank account with her ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife?
Soon-to-be ex-wife.
Soon-to-be ex-wife on what may have been or might still be a joint bank account. All trying to dig up some dirt about their custody dispute because they both apparently are just shitty people who want control of the kids.
Now, what makes this part very interesting is, I guess, in an argument, McClain said something that made her estranged wife kind of go, she went to the bank, found out through the bank that, yes, your account has been accessed through the International Space Station NASA computers. So we can confirm that happened, and she's gone to the FTC, who has yet to state anything about what they feel about the claim. Do we even know if this is really,
This might not actually be a crime. For two reasons. First of all, she obviously had the credentials to get into the bank account.
Yes.
And second of all, it might still be a joint bank account, since they're not officially divorced yet. If it's a joint bank account, there's literally nothing she can do about that. But what is interesting is that if any one of those circumstances create a situation where it's like, oh, she improperly accessed that information, that could present an interesting hypothetical legal situation. Assuming there was a crime committed, well, you see, the International Space Station is not a flagged vessel. If we were talking about this happening on, like, an ocean vessel, technically the law that applies is whatever country's flag is flying on that boat. Wherever it's registered, that's the law that applies when it's in international waters. End of story. But since the ISS technically isn't flagged by anyone...
Hence the name International.
I mean, I don't know for sure. Maybe there's rules depending on who's captaining or whatever. But as far as I know, it's not technically a flagged vessel. And furthermore, it's in space. It's I don't think there's an existing precedent. For all we know, there was no crime committed because it's impossible to commit a crime in space right now. Technically.
Well, I mean, the other interesting part for me is it seems interesting that this is the first time something like this would happen, considering it's over a divorce. I would assume this could have happened, ages ago. To anybody.
Like what? They're just gonna chuck, little screws and bolts down trying to hit their, ex or something on Earth? What do you
I'm
think?
not talking assault!
What are you gonna do in space?
Clearly access your bank account improperly.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for this episode of Last Week in Geek. We hope to see you at some conventions very soon. Why don't you drop a comment below? And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button when it pops up in our new end credits stuff. This has been Last Week in Geek. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Bye-bye!